Lots of new guys asking me how I feel about the 2011 platform, and since I do actually own one, right here, the DVCP, my personal STI that I bought before they changed their name to Staccato. So let's just jump straight into this. forknoxpodcast.com. Oh man, is a $4,000 fucking 2011 worth your time, and should you buy one? I've owned this for about a year, probably a little over a year. Actually, I don't even really know the timeline because 2020 has been fucking chaotic as shit. This is, as I said, a DVCP. This is the compensated island cut, open class, whatever. It's not even an open gun, but this is what you would shoot if you did shoot open. This gun, rail, obviously 5 inch with a compensator and cut for an optic. This gun, like I said before, I've said it's had like 6,000 rounds, almost at 7,000 rounds. This thing is fantastic. I love it. The issue at hand with it is it's $4,000. Then you put an optic on it. Then you put a flashlight on it. Do you want to spend $4,000 on a gun? Would you spend $3,500 on a gun? All these other companies make, I think Triarchs start at like 35, maybe with or without an optic cut. I don't really know, but they don't have an integral island cut compensated fucking gun. I don't think Atlas does either, which is kind of crazy. Shit, for $4,000 you can build two really high-end Glocks or M&Ps or any of the other polymer guns that you really like, fully loaded, which is kind of fucking crazy. But should you buy one? If you can afford it, absolutely. If not, I don't know if this is a grail gun for most people, considering, actually it might be a grail gun for a lot of people, but is it worth it because of the cost on mags, right? Mags are $65 plus, depending on if you get, tuned magazines or not. Holsters are an issue. This is a Long Shadow Customs. So if you look at this one has retention into it. So I waited, 6 or 9 weeks to get this thing because I had other holsters and I kept dropping my gun out of it. I had this weird sweet spot to where I could get a draw pretty quick, but then it wasn't enough retention to keep the gun in the holster. As you can see, I run a QLS system on this because I run multiple pistols, but be forewarned, with holsters with 2011s, there's no universal one. Wait, there might be a universal one. It's the Black Hawk. I forget. It's a T-Series. It's a 2011 holster. They just released it. Haven't gotten my hands on it. Roger at QVO has one, so hopefully I can score one from him, or score that one from him. But yeah, so holsters are an issue with 2011 systems. Not like you can just go and buy a Glock 19 and you already have a 19 holster and you can just shove your gun in there. If I wanted a Safariland ALS holster, I would have to buy, I believe, a M&P Core Pro. So it's cut for an optic. It's a 5-inch, and then I would have to modify the holster itself to fit for this. So Safariland doesn't make something specific for this weapon system, which is kind of a fucking bummer. I've heard of dudes talking about modifying 1911 holsters or any other types of holsters. So also, you got to remember that not all 2011s are the same. So the profile of the slide might be different. The dust cover might be full length or not full length. You have a lot of different variables, tiny variables, but they are variables that exist. So you're gonna have to probably either send your gun to someone or hope, like Long Shadow, they actually have the mold for this gun. So I requested a RMR cut X300 for this holster. And then when I got it, I had to modify the holster to fit the SRO, which rolls right into my next thing with the 2011 platform, or at least just my gun in general, right? So this problem might not even be unique to just me, and if anyone else has experienced it, you can fucking slide in my DMs and tell me. This gun right here, right around 7,000 rounds, I have had 3 optics on it and 3 different X300 Ultras. My first X300 Ultra was a brand new silver one. That thing lasted maybe 50 rounds. Blew the gun out. Is that a surefire issue? Don't know. But the second one that I had on there also broke that. Is that a surefire issue or is that a fucking gun issue? The Delta Point Pro. Everyone knows that Delta Point Pros are kind of iffy, whatever. You can get one. They will last 10,000 rounds. They might not last 10,000 rounds. The one that I had on here lasted about 1,000. Took it off, sent it back. The other thing that kind of sucks too is if you are one of those people that watches all the, PNS and Aaron Cowan, like all these other guys, this plate is really big. That's a fail issue for a lot of firearms companies, right? Or just firearms in general. This plate is pretty thick. The Delta Point Pro actually mounts direct to the slide, which is rad. But again, issues with the Delta Point Pro, I had to get rid of it. So I went to a Type 2 RMR. I had to get used to this super tall ass fucking Optic placement. And I didn't break the RMR Type 2, which was pretty fucking rad. That didn't happen. I actually bought this SRO to replace it because I wanted to try the SRO. So now my gun is super ugly and disgusting looking, which it took a really good looking pistol and made it even uglier. So I love this gun. I love 2011s. I will own another 2011. At this point, I'm unsure who I'm going to give my money to, whether it be Triarch or Atlas. If Atlas would be willing to make one of their models for me with a polymer grip so I can carry it, that would be fantastic. I don't really care for the aluminum. If I shot limited class or open, I would build a limited or open class Atlas. That way I could use the steel grip, get that gun as heavy as possible to fly a shooting gun. But I don't. This is a gun that I use in a duty holster, right? So a retention holster, and I run around the desert and LARP like an asshole, and I do this, and hopefully my gun doesn't fall out. But if it does fall out, also that was my fault. If my gun falls out and it hits the ground, I want everything to be able to function as is. Because that has been an issue with this gun because of its weight. Obviously talked about holsters with retention. So there it is. Pretty brief. That's my beef with the 2011 system. My issue with STI actually is the fact that they kept changing the name of their fucking pistols like every 6 months. And then after that, they ended up just deciding to change their name, which I know went along with the company being sold, right? So STI is no longer STI. They're now Staccato, new owners, all that other shit. I've heard in the rumor mill that there's no longer going to be support for legacy systems. So if you have something like this, which is, comp, island cut, all that other shit, if I crack my compensator, they're not going to do the work in-house, from what I've been told in the rumor mill. I don't know if it's true. So if you know anyone who works at fucking Staccato, tell them to reach out to me and ease my pain for the fact that I'm going to have to send this to someone, for them to send it to someone else to get it fucking fixed. $4,000 is a lot of money for a fucking pistol that if I can't get service, what's the fucking point of owning it? Because let's be real, I can buy a Glock 19 and buy a fucking slide tomorrow, theoretically, outside of panic buying. At least with Triarch, they're around still. I mean, they're a newer company to the scene, but Triarch's gonna fucking support me. Atlas is gonna support me. There's so many fucking little beefs that I have with fucking STI and why I wouldn't give them money anymore. Sorry, Staccato, why I wouldn't give them any money. Seems like their customer service kind of fell off a little bit. I'm a huge customer service person. At SHOT Show, when you would look at their pistols that were on the floor, they had two of these guns or the Staccato XE, and none of the finishes matched. I understand there's some, production issues there, but holy fuck, man. Like, you guys are showing these guns off. You couldn't have got, like at least this one matches, and this is an STI. It's an older model, pre-fucking sale. It's the 1989 Mercedes-Benz, the last E-Class to actually be a real fucking Mercedes, at least in my mind. But there's just a lot of weird little things that I've heard and have kind of experienced that would push me, actually is pushing me away from buying a Staccato. So maybe a Triarch and 4.25, maybe an Atlas and a 4.25 if I can get the gun that I want. But until then, yeah, 4knoxpodcast.com, slide in the DMs, 4knox podcast. I'm going to post some high-res photos of this piece of shit on the blog. If you have any other questions, like I said, slide in the DMs.